So I'm hoping that this little bit of a late start has enabled you to take advantage of the extraordinary catering outside. Yes, exactly. So I just wanted to particularly to thank Shirley as representing the women of the Sephardic Hebrew congregation, and who is the motivator, and who, by the way, is also a volunteer here at the center, has been for many, many years. And when I said to her, you know, Shirley, do you think you could do it for this very special occasion? And there we go. So thank you very, very much indeed. And of course, it is very important that we have this evening at this particular time. And it's Mr. Peter Greenberg, who is the chairman of the Sephardic Hebrew congregation. I spoke to him some months ago and said to him we were going to be having this evening, and would it be possible to cooperate somehow with the community, because it is the anniversary of the deportations this month. And it's, if my maths serves me correctly, I think it is 72 years since the deportation, and this is the month where there will be a service at the Sephardic shul to mark the deportation, because that shul has been the home to the Rhodes survivors and their families, many of whom are here this evening. So really, to you, a very specially warm welcome, and of course to Lina and to Harry Cantor, a very, very warm welcome, because really you are the cement for this evening. To Johnathan Andrews, who is the filmmaker, and to members of the diplomatic corps that are here this evening from the Russian Federation, from of course, Turkey. Many members of the Turkish community are here this evening, but especially I want to thank Ambassador Ulgen, who has come from Pretoria to be with us this evening at this premiere. Thank you so much. Thank you. So, around the walls of this hall, you see an exhibition which is called Beyond Duty, and it comes from through the Israeli Foreign Ministry and through Yad Vashem, who developed the exhibition, and it's here in South Africa, touring the country, and it is the opening of that exhibition this evening. Unfortunately, this is very, very problematic, but unfortunately, the Israeli ambassador, who was wanting to be here this evening, couldn't, sent his apologies, but they, in fact, sponsored the exhibition coming here, and they also provided for the finance for our eats this evening. So we need to thank them in absentia. Okay, Ella Blumenthal and Miriam Lichterman, two of our beloved survivors who are never late for anything, but tonight, because of some transport mix-up, they are a little bit late. So Miriam and Ella, we're going to save some of the eats for you for later. It's lovely to have you with us. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, thank you.
Sorry.
Don't apologize. I hope I've welcomed everybody. I've thanked the embassy for the exhibition. I will be thanking Johnathan a little bit later for all the work that he's put into it. But let me just reflect a little on the making of such a film from our point of view. So we are, as the Holocaust centers all over the world, and I'm speaking everywhere, we have been making a concerted effort to try and film as many of our survivors as possible here in South Africa, particularly for us. And we've been filming them at a time when many of them have been speaking about their experiences and so are able to reflect on those experiences. And we're hoping that these films will be films we can use for many, many years in giving first-hand witness testimony from the people who were there. And so this film is particularly important for that, from that point of view. Not only does it celebrate the righteous amongst the nations, the beyond-duty diplomats who stepped out beyond their role and took on such an incredible rescue mission, as is testified in this exhibition, but it's about really one person's story, one family's story. And that really for us is extremely important, because whilst we can know the big picture, really the real understanding of the tragedy of it lies in the personal testimony. It lies in those survivor stories, people who come out of the experience for one reason or another and are able to tell about their experience, because of course there were millions that could not. Millions that could not. And it is for that reason that these experiences are incredibly important for us to record and for us to be able to share and show. It's a responsibility of centers such as this to do that. So, Johnathan, really thank you for the film that you made, but thank you also to the ambassador for the incredible support you gave to the project, without which it would not have happened. And I'd like to now invite you just to say a few words, please. Thank you.
Thank you very much. It's a great honor and pleasure to be here at this stage, especially after you. Thank you very much, Richard. I have been in South Africa for the last 1.5 years. Very frankly, I can say this project, which has been a project of the Turkish embassy and the Turkish government, has been the most outstanding thing I've ever done in the last 1.5 years. So obviously it's really more than an honor. It gives me a lot of immense pleasure and honor equally to have a little impact in realizing this project. And I very much agree with the words that dear Richard has just said. This is just a very little tiny piece in the big ocean of all the evil that has been happening in our old world to humans. It's still being happening. It happened 70 years ago. It's still happening. The day before yesterday we commemorated Srebrenica. Before that we commemorated Rwanda. And on this occasion, once again, I bow my head and pray for all those who have lost their lives during these horrible years, during what we call the Holocaust, more than 6 million people. I traveled from Johannesburg, Pretoria this morning, from Old Tambo Airport. It's always a pleasure to come in Cape Town. I'm particularly more happy to see Cape Town under a heavy, gloomy, rainy weather. Of course, coming from Gauteng, we would wish more sunnier days to face in Cape Town, but it's a beautiful city, it's a beautiful occasion, and for me, I'm really excited. We had done the premiere of this documentary together with Johnathan on the 27th of January, and it was a great occasion because we were able to make the first premiere on the occasion of the Mozart Festival, which is a very popular festival in Johannesburg. And it really received a lot of attention from the community. But it is the first time I'm in Cape Town, and it is a great occasion that we have the star of the movie with us. I must also say a few words of Lina. I came to know her through my predecessor. It was again, I think, in this very room where they met through you, Richard, before I was here. But it was one of the things that he left me, and he really wished me to follow up. And I did. The first time I came to Cape Town, I knocked on her door, together with this lovely couple. They just welcomed me like I am part of their family. we had this wonderful talk. I really didn't want the time to run because I was under very tight time constraints. And then, when I was back, I also, again, another figure, a very important figure, I'm grateful, is Johnathan, obviously. He made it come true. He's a real artist in my eyes. Not maybe as much as our star, but a real artist to make dreams come true. So I just invited him over to the embassy, and it was just in a couple of minutes we agreed that we should really work with Lina. And then my government was already there, to give the very humble support. And I know it's very much on the shoulders of Johnathan, who took the more burden of doing this film. So it came true. But once I first, watched the first drafts, I watched the thing and everybody was performing quite well. You will see me also performing, a very brief part. But Richard, I believe really, he is also somebody that we are so grateful. You make the whole documentary look like a documentary, Richard. I'm very grateful for that. So there are people which, from the very bottom of my heart, both on my behalf, on the behalf of the Turkish embassy and the Turkish government, we extend our gratefulness. I've said what I should be saying as a Turkish ambassador in South Africa in the movie, so that's why I really don't want to reiterate that part. But maybe I should say a few words why really, particularly this matters to us. Because throughout history, we as Turkish people, on the soil that we've been living with a number of different ethnic religious groups, the Jewish community has always been a very special community for us. Particularly during the 600 years long Ottoman reign, that's what the history is teaching us, and that's also what we still enjoy, although in a very limited number of the vibrant Jewish community living in Turkey, particularly in Istanbul. It has been always a very strong bond. Now this wonderful Separat cuisine that was offered to us, and graciously, I think I took more than what I should, even that is a symbolizing of our common life for so many, which has lasted for so long. I was in Istanbul last week. I went to one of the most popular shopping malls. Believe me, I bumped into so many Jewish people from Israel and from other places, and I grabbed them from the different languages, but all, very, very easy to grab for a Turkish person because we grew together. There are political difficulties, of course, between the Turkish government and the Israeli government, like many other governments around the world, but it has, in our hearts and in our minds, it has never ever affected our relationship with the Jewish people, wherever they are, and I believe also for the Turkish people, whoever and wherever we are. It's a great pleasure. As I said, I have a couple of Turkish people, Turkish brothers and sisters with me today. I'm very grateful that I was allowed to invite them over. As I said, this is one of the very pleasant moments for the Turkish ambassador in South Africa. So I really look forward to enjoy. Maybe just a final word to Lina again. I think, Lina, you've really become a star, at least in the Turkish diplomatic community, because Johnathan was also very kind enough to produce this movie in DVDs. So we distributed it all over to the diplomatic missions. And on every relevant occasion, we have the pleasure and honor to just watch this documentary with our friends, with our colleagues around the world. Once again, I thank you very much for this opportunity. I look forward to watch the movie. I don't know how many times I did. I hope you will enjoy. Enjoy is the word, of course, which doesn't go with a very sad story, but I still very hope that you will enjoy the documentary. Thank you.
So, ladies and gentlemen, this evening would not be happening without somebody who understands both sides of the camera, actually. And it was my pleasure to work with Johnathan, his meticulous attention to detail, incredible commitment to the program, to the story, his simpatico meeting with Lina, and I think that the fact that she tells the story so beautifully to you is really a credit to you as well. So I would like to ask you to come and talk a little bit about your journey and also to introduce the film before we screen it.
Okay, Richard. It's very heartfelt to hear what you said, because it's never an easy job to do what I did, what I tried very hard to do. But before I talk about some of these things about the film, I wanted to begin by telling you how the film got to get its name. Because the film had many possibilities for names. Elif and I were sitting in the office, and I was saying, Elif, what about this and what about that, and let's call it this and let's call it that. But at the end of the day, I sat with the story of Lina Amato. But doing the artwork of the film, the movie poster and the DVD cover, the story of Lina Amato was just too long, it didn't fit. So I tried other combinations. I said the story of Lina Amato, big at the bottom, and that also didn't really work. So I resolved, and looking at the layout of everything, the story of Lina Amato worked. It was short enough and everything. So I phoned Lina and I said to Lina, the film is going to be called The Story of Lina Amato, and she immediately said, well, my husband's going to have something to say about that. Who is Canto? Canto didn't fit. Harry, I'm sorry, but but in the end, everything was quite good, and the film was called The Story of Lina Amato. Now, connecting to what Richard said, very important to note that let's backtrack a little bit. Kaan Essener was the previous Turkish ambassador, and one evening during conversation, he said to me, there's this lady in Cape Town, and she has a Turkish passport, and there's a very interesting story connected to this Turkish passport. Would you be interested to make a film about this? And of course I said yes. I'd never done anything about the Holocaust, but my passion as a person is telling powerful human stories. And this was a great opportunity. Now, at the time, the project could not move forward, and it was kind of put on hold. And as Elif said, our first official meeting with her being the new ambassador in Pretoria, at the very top of my agenda to speak to Elif about was Lina's movie, and we just connected, and say no more, Elif got things going from the Turkish side, and I was very enthusiastic, and I almost immediately connected with Lina. We actually found Lina the first time, I think, from Elif's office together, and I arranged to meet Lina. Very enthusiastic. Quickly I met her, and we had a meeting, a long discussion. We spoke several times, and I got the story, and this enthusiasm remained there, but I slowed down. Then I arranged my meeting with Richard, and I was very excited, enthusiastic, kept it there, and I conducted my interview with him today, and once again I slowed down even more, to a point where I got to a stop. Because I think, unlike so many other, not hundreds, not thousands, but maybe millions of people out there who know about the Holocaust, but when you have to make a story about something like this connected to the Holocaust, it changes things. And you start questioning, you start observing, you start reading into almost everything that Lina said, because it's this worldview that, to me, is the heart of the film that you're going to be seeing. This is Lina's story, but by listening to what she said, it opens up an entire different world of understanding and insight from the perspective that she offers. And in that sense, slowing down and getting to almost grinding halt on many of the aspects that Lina spoke about and what she tells us in the film, I got to a point where I started researching a lot of archival footage, and it's all these bad images and horrifying images and stories and sounds and movie clips. At the end, it was decided that I would drop all of those. I would even take away the possibility of a voiceover in the film, because with what Richard says, with what Lina says, and what Elif says, gives us the story without the aid of interference, of a voiceover, quote-unquote interference. In this case, it's perfect. And this enthusiasm and this opportunity to make the film changed totally. And it became an honor for me to make this film. A process that I would never forget. And I want to thank you, Lina, because you shared something tremendous to empower me to share this with as many as I can. And it is my commitment to doing that. Thank you. And then just briefly, Ambassador Elif Ulgen, without your fire, this would not have been possible, and we thank you. And Richard Freedman, thank you very much. Your contribution, invaluable, and thank you for allowing this film to be screened here tonight. And it is my honor and my pleasure to share the story of Lina Amato with you tonight. Thank you.